Wow, this is amazing. Got it. Yeah, no, I mean, when we started the company, the startup community was a lot smaller. I remember being in the room for a demo camp, and it was like 12 people, and I was presenting, and it was exhilarating, it was amazing, but it wasn't like this. So I think everybody should be really proud of this city. I just want to thank Alex and Jason for inviting me here today. It's really a great opportunity. My talk is actually longer, and you guys are really pressed for time, so I'm gonna cut the first story out and just jump right into the second story that I wanted to tell. And I'm also not gonna use my slides. So fast forward to 2014, Uken was riding high. We just placed 6th on the Deloitte Fast 50, which is listing the 50 fastest companies in Canada, and the Fast 500, which covers all of North America. Ahead of us was Shopify, Hootsuite, and Chango. So you can imagine how we felt. Despite the few product flops, revenue and profit were growing astronomically, and they were incredibly strong. According to Deloitte, our compounded growth rate over the past 4 years was an astounding 11,000%. So we were really exciting. Expectations were extremely high within the company, so naturally, we were excited about the 2 new games we had in the pipeline. In reality, it was not that we paid much attention to the Fast 50. That was just a list. It was more that it represented the presumption that we had already achieved success. And so this is a story that's really kind of close to my experience as an entrepreneur and how difficult it can get sometimes. But that was far from the truth. And even though I knew it, I still drank the Kool-Aid, and I still believe that we were doing really, really well. It wasn't until the end of the year that we hit a brick wall. We had been investing 18 months into these new titles, and it turns out not enough people wanted to play the games we were building. We had made some early poor assumptions around the start of the projects, and that resulted in a lot of design errors, a lot of development issues, and a lot of people issues. And it gets really tough. To give you a sense of things, we spent $3 million on these two games, over a span of 18 months, and 25 people, which was about half the company, was working on these projects at the time. And it's almost as if we had missed the Startup 101 class that teaches you to fail fast and fail cheap. We did the exact opposite of that, and it just got prolonged. As a CEO, I started to question everything, including my abilities to lead the company. I questioned it on a weekly basis. This was something that was kind of psychologically going through my head, and it wasn't a healthy thing. It didn't help. Not only was the stress level enormously high, but when you're deep into product development and when you're largely a self-funded company, spending that kind of money, it becomes incredibly hard to make rational decisions. This is a spot that no company ever wants to be in, and as soon as I realized that, I kind of took the blinders off. I started asking the really hard questions, and soon after, I was able to convince everyone on the team that killing the projects was the right thing to do. That was incredibly difficult. I realized the most important aspect of this was to be transparent about all the facts and to allow them to come to the same conclusions that I had. And it was a really trying time. As soon as we made the decision to kill those games, however, it freed up resources to focus elsewhere in the company, and that's when other projects started to really flourish. Fortunately for us, our business was profitable from the very start, and we had made a very conscious decision to only sacrifice that profitability for the best growth opportunities. And that was really key to our survival and really key to kind of our growth. So I'll leave you with 4 lessons that I've learned as an entrepreneur. The first is to trust your gut and follow your heart. Whenever you're trying to achieve something, there's always going to be tons of obstacles in your way. And as challenging as things get, you need to trust your gut and have faith that it'll guide you in the right direction. Otherwise, you've got no compass. The second is to stay humble and to make friends. The best way I've found to stay humble and not drink your own Kool-Aid is to surround yourself with people who inspire and challenge you, people who, people can call your bullshit, and your accomplishments will always seem to pale in comparison when you do that. The third one is to focus on the road ahead and not the wall. So when you're, and this really pertains to when you're in a deep, dark kind of situation. When they train race car drivers, one of the lessons that they teach them going around the corner at 250 kilometers an hour is to focus on the road and not the wall. If you focus on the wall, you'll go right into it. If you focus on the road, you'll follow the curve. Running a company is a lot like this, and there are constantly things that that can go wrong, and a lot of them are fatal as well. If you focus too much on these things, you'll drive yourself nuts. You'll probably go crazy, and you might sink your company in the interim. Focus on what you're gonna do rather than how to avoid what is gonna cause problems for you. And then the fourth one is just don't quit. I've talked to a lot of people in the tech community, and some of the common themes that I've heard and that I've learned is that mediocre CEOs will say the reason for their success is because of a certain business strategy or a certain business sense, but the really great CEOs will say the reason that they've succeeded is because that they've just never stopped. They've never stopped playing the game, and that's over a long period they've persevered and they've been successful out of that. So I'll leave you with those lessons, and thank you very much. Actually, there was a couple other things. I should have introduced the company. I forgot to do that. So I started a company called Uken Games. I skipped the first half of my talk. At Uken, we have the fortune of building mobile games that connect and delight millions of people around the world. Unlike most game studios, we compete across a wide range of genres, starting from fantasy role-playing games to casual bingo games to competitive sports games. We're a team of 72 made up mostly of programmers, designers, artists, analysts, and support staff. And our office is just up the street. And we're hiring. So if you're interested in making great games, come talk to us. Questions? 2 questions. Yeah, go for it. Runners?
Here. Excellent. I can run too.
Thanks. Hi, my name is Astawa, and I was wondering, how did you get into games? Why games? Why did you pick this?
Like, why did I pick going into games?
Yeah, why did you start this business? Why do you love it?
Yeah, so the short story is I met my co-founder at a Facebook camp. It was a wonderful event. Facebook was 80 million users, and we built this app together. It was a gifting app, and one of the things we did was we added a leaderboard. So the gifting app, the first week we launched it grew insanely popular, but as soon as we launched the leaderboard, it doubled in popularity, and so we learned the power of gaming mechanics. And games was a sort of a natural progression for us in terms of things that we types of apps that we wanted to build, and we started really learning about building a game and what it took. I think actually, if you're learning about building products, you cut your teeth really well at building games. They're really complex products, and they're unlike no game is like any other, especially if you're trying to be creative about it or you're trying to solve an original problem there. So yeah. Hey.
Hi. First of all, thank you for your time and your ideas tonight. Really amazing. My question is, what questions have you learned to ask yourself to avoid the $3 million mistake? Like, how have you learned to think about those ideas critically in order to avoid future mistakes?
Yeah, so at our stage, it's really about the people. It's really about surrounding yourself with people that are not gonna lie to you. That are not going to bullshit you, and that are going to tell you when something isn't working, and nothing is ever working properly. And if it is, then you're not doing the right thing. You're going to discover kind of like 10 months down the road that something's going to go wrong. And at the same time, you sort of have to maintain a calmness. And where I get that is, I've surrounded myself with other entrepreneurs who I can talk to and share problems with. That's really been helpful for me in my career. And that's really important. People that you can be open with, that you trust, and that will, not divulge your information, because that's really important, but can also relate to the experiences that you've been through. Yeah. All right.